Why does everyone complain about healing being so hard? It's so easy, like... Hello? Okay, most of you probably aren't playing on third-party clients, I get it. So today, I'm going to help you get set up on NeuzOS, an open-source third-party client that, as you just saw, lets you switch which character you send key events to just by hovering your mouse over their window. And it's got some other neat stuff I'll go over as well. And in case you're worried about getting banned or whatever, third-party clients aren't inherently against the TOS, so you don't have to worry about getting banned. Now, if you find another third-party client that does do TOS breaking things and you get yourself banned that way, well, that's on you. That out of the way, let's get started. I put the link to this page you see in the description, so go there, click on the latest release on the right side here, scroll down, and you'll want to click on the third one if you're on Windows. I don't have a Mac, so I can't help you if you're a Mac user. Sorry. But if I had to guess, it's probably the second one. Anyway, that'll start the download. Once it finishes, run it and you'll run into this screen telling you it's dangerous. Which you can ignore and run anyway. The guy who made this just didn't want to have to pay to sign the software. Understandable, especially since last I heard they don't even play the game anymore. Once it's installed, you're done. Yippee! Now to actually set it up. On the top left, click on the gear icon and it'll open this window. Live sessions is where you'll make the clients you'll be playing on. So let's make one for the main and one for the RM. The class icon is optional, but if you find yourself making a bunch of sessions, it'll make them easier to find later. You can name these whatever you like, but it's always best to be descriptive. Or at least use the characters' names. Once you're done, make sure to press Save Changes. Notice there's 3 buttons on the right here. The left button is for clearing cache. If you ever get a fatal error that freezes your game and repeatedly does so if you try to relog, click this and it should fix it. The middle button deletes all data associated with the session, which includes all saved sessions and game settings. Would not recommend pressing. Ever. Right button deletes the session from the list, in case the list gets too large. I did notice this can trigger a bug that makes the top bar completely unclickable. If that happens to you, unfortunately the only solution I know of is going to your app data and deleting the NeuzOS folder, which also deletes every session and layout you have. So try to avoid doing that unless you really like setting everything back up every time. Now that being said, if you delete a session and remake it with the same name at a later date, it will restore all data that was there before, like save sessions and UI layout. Next, we have layouts, which will open our sessions and maintain our setup. You can name your layout whatever you like, then click Add Layout and it'll make this window here. Click the big Add Row button and it'll let you choose a session to open in the main window. You can add more sessions to the right by pressing a plus sign on the right or by pressing Add Row again and doing the same thing. Can't say I recommend having more than 2 windows for most things, but the option's there if you need it. Save changes, tab over to General Settings to make sure autofocus is enabled, and you can close this window and refresh as prompted. I skipped over the floating sessions just now, but you can see here they're basically just sessions with more movable windows. They do have to be resized with the plus and minus buttons on the top of each window, so it's a bit clunky, but you might have a specific use for them. Just beware, despite looking like windows, they can't actually leave the boundaries of the NeuzOS window. If you want to do that, you need to pop the session out, but that doesn't play nice with the hover-over, so it kind of defeats the purpose. And finally, we have Zen mode, which is basically just launching the game in either borderless window or full screen depending on your settings. Again, doesn't work with mouse hover, so not useful unless you're doing something where you don't really need your RM's help. Also, you can only exit Zen mode with the keyboard shortcut, which is Ctrl, Alt, and Y 3 times. Once you've set all that up, click on the plus sign on the top left. Choose your layout, log in, and fix your settings so they match however you've been playing up to this point. You can drag the line in the middle of the window if you want one of the sessions to be bigger. The full screen button on the top right will only take up 1 monitor on a multi-monitor setup, or half the screen if you have a wide monitor. If you want it to be wider, you can manually have it stretch multiple screens, but you'll have to do that each time you launch NeuzOS. While you're setting up your UI, some of you might have noticed the base hotkey bar can't be moved or stretched out. You can fix that by going into the in-game options, under Interface, choose probably a non-gold theme, and drag the bar a bit. Then you can go back to your preferred theme. Make sure everything's laid out how you want it, check all your settings and hotkeys, and you're good to go. So the way this works is any key you press will be sent to whichever session your mouse is hovering at the moment. So like here, if you're playing 1v1, you don't have to click or Alt-Tab for your RM to heal. Instead, you just move your mouse, press your heal, and you can click on the next mob. Easy. Same thing when you're AoEing. Gather as you've been doing till now, move your mouse to heal as needed. Once you're AoEing though, you'll have to move your mouse back and forth between the two screens to both AoE and heal yourself. When you do this, you can't hold down the keys though, so I recommend having your AoE and heal both take up 2 hotkey slots for ease of spamming. It's easier and more fluid than spamming one key. Trust me. If you're wholly crossing for yourself in Envy, this doesn't really change much since most of that gameplay happened on your ARMS window anyway, but it does make swapping between the two windows a bit more fluid. I don't think anyone dual clienting Envy is going to notice much of a difference with this. There's also some convenient widgets if you look on the top right and click on the double X button. First one is a link to the wiki which opens in a floating session. And you have the F-coin calculator which lets you type in the FC rate to quickly convert prices. The first box you put in the rate, which is the price per 1,000 people are usually shouting in game. Like as of September 10th, which is when I wrote this, FC is around 520 mil per 1,000 FWC, so I'll put 520 mil here. And say I want to know the price of S-Pros, I put 80 in F-coin, and the Pena price will adjust accordingly. Works the other way around too, so if you change the Pena value, it'll update the F-coin value. And before you panic, no, those are not decimals. Some countries use a period for the decimal point, and others use a comma. Developer is from a country that uses a comma as a decimal point and periods as separators. Then there's a pet candy calculator for calculating how many candies you need to raise a pet, which is kind of obsolete since they made house NPCs for raising pets. So just keep the left side on A and the right side on S, so you can calculate how many berries and pena you need for 8 candies if you're making them yourself. When you're done playing and close out of everything, the layout will unfortunately not remember where you split the screen if you fully close and reopen NeuzOS, but it remembers everything else. If you use floating sessions, it will remember their exact dimensions though. And that covers everything, I think. Hopefully this unlocks parts of the game for people who are thinking of doing tank AoE, or were just tired of how clunky it is to heal on the arm for EXP while you're 1v1ing. I will say it will take a minute to get used to playing this way. Like you see here, I use electric shock, but I meant to heal myself there. In the future, if or when I get to making class guides, I will probably reference this, so I better not see any "how do I heal myself" comments when I see you all there. Until then,